As a Saginaw Valley State University nursing student, I decided to write my Sociology 280 Global Cultures research paper on traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine. I examined these two systems using the idea of George Reitzer, the author of The Globalization of Nothing Two, and his ideas of the nothing-something continuum and the global-local continuum. I will first start with the nothing-something continuum. Reitzer defines nothing as a social form that is generally centrally conceived and controlled and comparatively devoid of distinctive substantive content. He defines something as a social form that is generally indigenously conceived and controlled and comparatively rich in distinctive substantive content. I examined and compared traditional Chinese medicine with Western medicine by using the 5 dimensions that Reitzer uses to place phenomenon along the nothing-something continuum. These include the complexity, spatial, temporal, human, and magical dimensions. I will first begin with the complexity dimension. The something end of this dimension involves the uniqueness of a phenomenon, while the nothing end involves how interchangeable a phenomenon is. The methods that physicians used to treat patients used under traditional Chinese medicine can be placed at the something end of this dimension. TCM uses treatments such as acupuncture, herbal medicines, and therapeutic massage. These treatments are used to treat illness in TCM, which are said to be caused by blockage or stasis in the body due to an imbalance of qi or blood flow. Qi is defined as an energy or life force within and all around you. The TCM treatments help to balance qi and blood flow, which restores a patient's health. Even though these treatments are used to treat a variety of symptoms and illnesses, they are unique to TCM and specifically intended to restore the balance of blood flow and qi in the body. Due to these elements, TCM is placed towards the something end of the complexity dimension. Western medicine, on the other hand, and the treatments used fall more towards the nothing end of the complexity dimension. The drugs and treatments all have a specific purpose and system to work on in the body. They often have a generic brand and other forms of the same medications. They all contain different substances, but are all interchangeable and used to treat the same conditions. These characteristics place Western medicine more toward the nothing end of the complexity dimension. Next, I will move on to the spatial dimension. The something end of this dimension involves phenomena with specific local ties to a geographic area. TCM and its philosophical history lie in the something end of this dimension. TCM is one of the oldest practices in Chinese history, originating back to 5,000 years ago. This philosophical framework is based off a Taoist philosophy that believes all things derive from the same origin. Yin and yang are opposing but complementary energies in the body that sustain equilibrium. The TCM treatments mentioned earlier are used to maintain balance of yin and yang and the flow of qi to treat illness and improve a patient's health. The original framework of TCM has local ties to the ancient Chinese people and the Taoist philosophy, and therefore will continue to fall towards the something end of the spatial dimension. The nothing end of the spatial dimension involves phenomenon that lack specific local ties to a geographic area. Western medicine origins fall towards more towards the nothing end of this dimension. The original discovery and research of medications and treatments may be well known to physicians and scholars who specialize in Western medicine, but there are often many pharmaceutical companies that develop drugs, and patients are often unaware of the unique history of specific medications. Physicians may prescribe meds that are produced by companies all over the world, and there's not a specific philosophical framework linked to a specific location like those of TCM. Patients are not often aware of the place or how drugs are discovered, and therefore Western medicine is placed more towards the nothing end of the spatial dimension. The temporal dimension is the third on the nothing-something continuum. The something end refers to the phenomenon that are linked to a specific time period. The nothing end refers to those that are not linked to a specific time period. TCM dates back to 5,000 years ago and encompasses the natural care developed from people of the continent of Asia. Even though TCM is practiced today in various countries, it is still linked to the specific time period that it was developed, and therefore lies on the something end of the temporal dimension. As for Western medicine, medications are developed by companies all around the world. Meds are developed and approved at different times during history, and they are still produced today. Unlike TCM, Western medicine does not all date back to a specific time period, and therefore it lies closer to the nothing end of this temporal dimension. Next is the human dimension. The something end of this dimension involves phenomena that require a meaningful human relationship. The diagnostic methods used in TCM lie closer to the something end of the human dimension. They rely on one-on-one contact between patients and physicians, and they include things such as observation, inspection, listening, and smelling. Without the use of instruments such as an MRI machine or a CT scan, physicians can build a trusting relationship with their patients, forming a treatment plan and a diagnosis. This relationship places TCM toward the something end of the human dimension. Western medicine, on the other hand, and its diagnostic methods fall closer to the nothing end of this human dimension because they lack more of the personal human relationship. They rely more on technology and lab results in comparison to TCM. Physicians can still build a trusting relationship with their patients by providing good care, but they spend less time with them due to the various diagnostic tests that they have to receive. And this places Western medicine toward the nothing end of the dimension. Lastly of these dimensions is the magical dimension. The something end relates to a phenomenon with a magical quality. TCM treatments fall closer to this end because they can be viewed as magical to patients who receive them. Patients can see the components of the herbal medication separately before they are given, and then see how they are combined and mixed together to help their symptoms. And knowing that the herbs are transformed into a treatment could give patients a magical feeling. This places TCM toward the something end of the magical dimension. As for Western medicine, the treatments fall closer to the nothing end of the magical dimension. The medications often come in the same forms, and patients many times have taken similar medications before with similar effects. This may take away from the magical feeling of the medications because the relief of symptoms has been seen before, and the same instructions are given for the same medications. Next, I will examine traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine from Reicher's idea of the global-local continuum. It is based off of the idea of globalization, which is defined as the worldwide diffusion of practices, expansion of relations across continents, organization of social life on a global scale, and the growth of shared global consciousness. Under the idea of globalization is Americanization. This is the spread and acceptance of American ideas and practices throughout the world. Western medicine is becoming a part of this process, and many Chinese patients are beginning to turn to Western medicine treatment instead of traditional Chinese medicine treatment. In relation to globalization and Americanization is Reicher's idea of the lost, immense, monumental abundance. He believes that throughout this process of globalization, the somethings throughout the world, like traditional Chinese medicine, are in danger of being lost or pushed aside by the nothings, like Western medicine. TCM and Western medicine are a good example because with the growing popularity of Western medicine, Americanization could possibly lead to the loss or importance of TCM. Under globalization, it was the idea of cultural hybridization, or the mixtures of cultures by globalization. This process is seen in America when physicians use TCM in combination of Western medicine. This increasing popularity of TCM in America could lead maybe someday to the loss of the characteristics that make TCM a something, and could eventually lead them more towards the nothing end of the global, and nothing something continuums.